Igor, wine merchant, is here for a brief overview for April Wine Club selections. Man, there's a lot of fun stuff, and I'll give you some background information about these wine. I think it makes them more fun to drink. All right, we'll start out with the white wines in the Adventurous Club first. So let's go with wine from a great winemaker, Anselmo Mendes from Portugal. So the accolades, just keep flowing for this guy. Robert Parker called him one of the best winemakers in the world. And Revistas de Vinous, which is a top publication in Portugal, they've nominated him as a winemaker of the year. In fact, he's won it on several occasions. So, a great winemaker. And this is his kind of specialty, Vinho Verde. So this is both a region and a style of wine. The region is the northernmost region in Portugal. It borders Spain, and it's made of a variety of grapes. Probably the two most known are Albarino, which is the same grape as Albarino in Spain, and Luero. So Albarino comes from Mancausa region. That's the northernmost region, literally borders Spain, and then Lima's a little south of that, and that's where Luero comes from. It's a great kind of summer wine. It's getting warmer right now, and this is an excellent wine. So Vinho Verde has the reputation of being kind of like this light alcohol, fizzy, refreshing wine. But Anselmo Mendes want to get more serious expression of it. So bone dry wines, very mineral, and there's like no fizziness to this. So this is a more complex wine. The alcohol is not low. There's decent alcohol, like on this one, 12.5%. Typically they're like 9%. So this is a more impressive, example of Vinho Verde. A lot of people know Vinho Verde, like I said, a cheaper wine. And this is a great wine. And in fact, his name is Mr. Albarino because I think of the kind of the passion and that he shows behind his wine. So yeah, if you're in this club, I think this is a fantastic introduction for Anselmo Mendes and for his specialty, the Vinho Verde. All right, the second wine is just as fun, man. The grape is called Nascetta. And it comes from the Langhe, which is sub-region within Piedmont. That's northwest Italy. So this wine, we've had in our club in the last 6-7 months several wines from the Langhe region, from Piedmont. And I think this is, there's a few more, but this is kind of like maybe rounds up some of the best examples. So this Nascetta, so it comes from specifically Novello commune. So Novello is one of the several Barolo communes. Obviously, it's famous for Nebbiolo grape, and this wine, until about the 1980s, it was on the verge of extinction. In fact, they had about few rows of it left, and it was part of a field blend. So it wasn't like few rows of Nascetta. It was rows of other white wines. It was kind of blended in. And people didn't really think too much of it. Nebbiolo is considered like the great grape of the region, and obviously a lot of the farmers want to capitalize on Nebbiolo, so they ripped up a lot of Nascetta grapes. And it was only like in the late 90s, early 2000s that Elvio Cogno, one of the great Barolo producers, had a tasting with his friend, and it was like epiphany. They're like, oh man, this is a great grape. So they started planting more of it, and in fact, within like a decade, Nascetta got its own appellation. But it's a great grape. It has a kind of citrus and exotic notes on the nose. On the palate, it's a little more savory, like sage, rosemary. That kind of more comes off. And this is, like I said, this is a great introduction to the wine that was on the verge of extinction, just several decades ago. So this comes from Diego Concerno, one of the kind of younger producers. Once again, a Barolo specialist, Nebbiolo specialist, but he wants to, revive this wine just like Elvio Cogno, and actually have Elvio Cogno wine as well. This is the Nascetta, basically where the whole thing started, single varietal expression of it, but that's not the one in the club. but you guys can get it if you want to try it. But the Adeventurous example is fantastic as well. So the white wine clubs, I think these are two great wines. So you have one master winemaker and one grape that's like a rare gem. So that's very exciting. Okay, then start with the red wines in the Adventurous Club. All right, this is Australia's kind of take on Rhone specialty, GSM, Grenache Syrah Mourvedre blend. Killicoon is the producer, great producer. They've been around since the late 90s. And this comes from Clare Valley. So Clare Valley has a little higher elevation than probably the more famous Barossa. Where Barossa is on the floor, hotter temperatures. Sometimes the fruit like over ripens or even bakes. So even though Clare Valley's got a lot of sunshine, it's cooler at night, so the difference in 9-day temperatures really retains the acidity. So this I think is a great, it's a medium to full-bodied wine, but because of its acidity, it's a great expression of a GSM. Not a Rhone GSM, but definitely recognizable. And like I said, another really acclaimed producer, so very exciting classic, or soon to be classic. All right, so in a Adventurous Club, the mixed selections are Nascetta and the GSM. All right, but the other red for the red only club members, this is from Sandari Winery in Sardinia, and this is their mostly Cananao. There's a little blend of another grape, but this is Cananao di Sardinia. So it's a great island wine, and this is another wine that's got an amazing story to it. So first on the historical front, this grape, the Sardinians say that this is where the Grenache grape, which is Cananao di Sardinia, it's another name for Grenache. So they're saying it originated in Sardinia, from Sardinia and moved to Aragon, which previously the Spaniards claimed was the birthplace of Grenache, and from there it moved to southern Rhone, where the GSMs are made. And it looks like from kind of some DNA testing, the Sardinians might be right. And the other thing that's very interesting about this wine is that it might be the oldest variety within the Mediterranean basin. So pretty cool, kind of story. You got the birthplace of Garnacha, and you got the oldest wine within the Mediterranean. Very cool. The other cool stuff about this is that Sardinia, it's within the blue zone, so they have the most centenarians in the world. And one of the kind of, I don't know, things that they do in Sardinia to claim that people live for so long is they actually drink this Cananao di Sardinia. They take small sips of it, maybe 1 ounce, 2 ounce pours 3 times a day. And that's kind of what they claim makes them live for so long. So it's not only a cool backstory about the wine, a delicious wine on top of that, and possibly the healthiest wine in the world. So very excited. If you guys never had a Cananao di Sardinia, this is a great introduction to it. All right, and it's just overall bunch of fun selections in Adventurous Club, as usual. All right, and a bunch of fun selections in the High Society Club. All right, you got the 2 reds, and we'll start with probably the classic, Brunello di Montalcino. So it's always exciting to get something of this prestige. And typically, these wines kind of escalate in prices. So I was definitely excited. I was able to fit one in the High Society Club. This is from Del Poggio, really nice producer, kind of making a name for themselves. Been around, no more than 20 years, so it's not like an old producer. But yeah, making wines. And for those not familiar, Brunello di Montalcino is the best expression of the Sangiovese grape. The great grape of Tuscany, and Sangiovese, it's a grape, but there's over 250 clones of it. So not all the clones are good. Some are much better than others, and kind of through trial and error, I think a lot of Italians believe that Sangiovese Grosso, which is what goes into Brunello's, is the greatest expression, the greatest clone of Sangiovese. So if you guys like Sangiovese, this is it. Brunello, specifically this Brunello. All right, and then finally another fun wine. This one is from Austria. The grape is called Saint Laurent, and this is kind of progeny, or comes from the Pinot Noir. So it's related to Pinot Noir. So a lighter style grape. Austria is a cooler climate area, so all the reds are on the lighter style. But this is a great combination of kind of fruit and kind of earth tones. A little cool stuff about this wine. So it comes from around the area of Lake Newderlo, and it's from the gravel bed where the Danube River used to run 2 million years ago before it dried up in that part of the area. And this comes from like older vines. This is a reserve expression of Saint Laurent, so it comes from like 40-year-old vines. And once again, it's a rare gem. You don't see that many examples of the Saint Laurent grape kind of in distribution. So if you never had it, good chance you never had it. This is an excellent introduction to it. So kind of established classic in a Brunello di Montalcino, and like a rare gem in a Saint Laurent in the High Society Club. So these wines are exciting. I'm gonna put more about them below. And also, if you want to check out more information about these wines or the scores, etc., I'll have all of that on the website. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.